Are we gonna turn this off? Am I in frame? Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Catedral, sometimes known as NormalC. I'm here in PD Studios and want to tell you a little bit about a couple of my spoken word pieces that are going to be released soon. So I want to tell you first about My Heart's Cry. It was actually the first spoken word piece that I ever wrote, and I wrote it right before I graduated from Arizona State University last year. So I got to study my Filipino kind of history for my thesis actually. And through that process, I actually got to write a poem that kind of summed it all together. And I actually got to share that piece at the Asian American convocation for graduation. It was really cool because that was kind of the beginning of me stepping into kind of like the creative passions that I had. Always wanted to write and do spoken word and stuff like that, but I never thought that I really could do it. I was more like the intellectual type and like that's all I did. But it was like a chance for me to take the knowledge that I had and turn it into something that was more artistic so that it could speak to people's hearts. Like the very first line in the piece goes, like, anything can make us look, but only art can make us see. And so like the whole idea behind that was a quote by the poet laureate Archibald MacLeish. And so the whole point behind it was like taking all this knowledge, taking what words can't describe, and sharing myself so that I can be known through this artistic piece. And so that was the beginning of it. But the name for the piece didn't come until actually much later. After I graduated, I ended up doing some traveling, and I was going back and forth between Arizona and Pennsylvania. And so starting in Arizona, I was actually doing some tutoring for the Somali Bantu community in Arizona. And one day, while I was driving to the tutoring center, I just like was praying. And it's kind of something that I did and I was doing. And while I was praying, I just like, my heart began to just like really break for our generation. And I just started praying for our generation and just like praying these prayers. And then like one of the things that I prayed was that like that our heartbeat would become the drum beat that we walk to. So actually that line, which is in my poem, is actually like from a prayer that I prayed in a moment. And like the whole idea behind that was that like the heartbeat of our lives, like the passions in our heart, would actually become the very things that like would become the drum beat, would become the rhythms that we would walk to. And so that was like actually inspired by like this prayer that I was praying for our generation. And so I had this prayer and I had these like things that I prayed about and like these lyrics that were kind of from a prayer, but I didn't know what to do with them. So like I said, I was traveling and next stop was in Pennsylvania. And I was in Pennsylvania doing some stuff there, and one day I was like feeling really down and I didn't know what to do. So my team was supposed to set up a prayer room in the house where I was staying. I didn't find myself, like again, still to think of myself as being creative, and so I was waiting for other people to set up the prayer room. Like mainly like the girls in our group. I was like, you know, they were like art majors and really creative people. I'm like, well, they should set it up. But I couldn't wait. I knew like inside of myself that I needed to do it. So I went up there and I took some gold string and I made like this mural out of string. And it was inspired by the prayer that I prayed on my way to tutor that one morning in Arizona. So from that mural, I wrote down the lyrics and I put it into a poem that I posted on my blog. And then from that, I actually took that piece on my blog and added it to my Filipino identity piece, and I put them together. And so kind of like the heart behind it is, in the first part of it, it's like my Filipino American identity. Like it's me finding my identity and sharing it with people in artistic form. But it's more than just me talking about my Filipino identity. It was like this journey, this process of finding what was in my heart and like seeing it released and seeing it be spoken. And then the second part of the poem really brings that part to life. That like the dreams and the things that are inside of us are stuff that like God has put inside of there. And so like what He's put inside is stuff that He wants to bring to life, so that they're not just dreams that we do like when we're sleeping at night, but they're dreams that we actually walk out and live out. And so the whole idea and the whole heart behind Heart's Cry is that my heart's cry is that as we find our identity, it will give us the confidence to pursue our dreams. So it was cool because after I wrote that piece, it opened up new doors for me to do some other pieces, and that's where I actually got invited to do the second piece I did, SB 1070. My advisor heard the piece at my graduation and asked me to do it for Golden Key International Honor Society in Arizona. And so I performed this piece with my cousin Daniel. And the piece is all about the rising hope of Arizona and the historical legacy. And it offers hope in the midst of some of the political turmoil that's been happening around the state because of the bill SB 1070, which deals with illegal immigration. And so it was really cool, because out of me taking a step and recognizing that I am creative and that I am passionate and love what I do, and through that being able to express it in an art piece, it opened up more opportunities to share my art with others, and now with you. So it's been really great to do that, thanks to family, friends, my brother, PD Studios. So yeah, if you want to know more, you can read my blog at normalc.tumblr.com or follow me on Twitter, Catedral. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy listening to my pieces. Peace and PD.